Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Colette, and I'm here today from Witch Ways to share with you a few tips about working with dreams in your witchcraft. Dreams help us process the day, but they also can be a really big part of building your witchcraft skills intuitively, psychically, and learning about allies and spirit guides. So these are just a few ways I've worked with them. There's lots of information out there about different ways to work with dreams. So as always, take what works and leave the rest. I think it's really helpful to just take some time to decompress from your day, have a period of rest, breathing, centering, etc. before you do any kind of dream magic work. But one of my favorite ways is just working with a shower. So if you can, take a shower before bed and ask the water to clear off of you anything you don't need to carry into your dream world, and also to help it psychically open you in a safe and gentle way. So since dreams already help us process our day, you can just incorporate that into your dream magic. It can help you clarify anything that's been kind of bugging you. So before sleep, you can lay out a few cards near your bed that represent what's bothering you or represent the problem. Then center yourself, and before you go to sleep, ask to see the roots of this situation and what needs to be understood in order for things to progress. If you're more intermediate or advanced and already have some protectors or some spirits that help you delve into the psychic world, you can invite them to help guide your way as you do this dream work. Then when you wake up, to the best of your ability, write down the images, feelings, and sensations from your dream. There's a lot of information about journal tracking your dreams as well out there, so I don't feel like I need to go over it here. And then just over several nights, keep doing that until you feel like you see something. Maybe that will happen on the first night, maybe it'll happen later, but at some point there'll be a little bit of a click and an aha moment. And if that doesn't illuminate what action you need to take to help solve the problem, you can ask for a solution on another night. And this works best overall if you've been tracking your dreams for a while and are in the habit of journaling. So that might be something to look into. Some of you might already know that dreams can be a really great way to meet new spirit helpers who want to work with you. But when I do this and ask to have that happen, I lean heavily into protection. So the way I start is by making a charm bag. And the herbs that I use are rosemary for protection and clearing, blue vervain for psychic and intuitive protection, and cinnamon for a little bit of extra fiery protection and to help call in spirits. And as you add each herb, ask it to support you and help you and protect you and keep away any spirits who are not beneficial and don't have your best interest at heart. Then you can light a candle if you want, a small one, just for a few minutes before you go to sleep, and say something like, I call to me only beneficial spirits who would like to work with me. And then you can either snuff it or let it burn all the way out. Beginners who are just starting out, who want to explore this, might want to limit asking for spirits that are plants, animals, trees, etc., things like that, or trusted ancestors if you have a good relationship with them. If you've been practicing witchcraft for a while and you feel really confident in your protective skills and the filters that you have around your home, you can ask to meet any spirit who want to work with you and has your best interests at heart. Or maybe you've been sensing a spirit nearby and you want to get a little bit more information. You can ask to see them more clearly in a dream. I always follow this up with some divination to get a little more information about them, and maybe ask a trusted guide if these are reliable spirits, if you have some already, which if you've been practicing a while, you probably do. And then I also like to use yes, no answer tools, and I have a video about that to confirm that it's safe to work with this particular spirit. Sometimes spirits just show up in our dreams when we don't ask for them. And one of the ways that I personally know this is happening is because their presence really lingers after I wake up, or they might appear really luminous or shiny in my memory when I think back on the dream. And of course, that could also mean that there's a very significant human that you are about to meet, or perhaps that means that you might meet them or some other thing. So I always find it really helpful to just start with a basic yes/no answer. Divination, like, is this a spirit or a human? And then go from there. So sometimes then you want to do some journaling about it and see what comes through. You might want to pull a card for more trusted information to just get some clarity on it. You might want to do yes/no answers with existing allies to see if this is a helpful spirit and one that you should trust. I also like to ask friends who are skilled intuitives to check in and see what their hit is on that particular spirit. And then I introduce them really slowly into my life. In general, I find it's really helpful to ask trusted spirits, as I mentioned, to vouch for a particular new spirit that wants to enter my life. And of course, you may have your own ways to do this if you're more intermediate or advanced. This one is just a little bit more intermediate or advanced, and you need a group of trusted spirits or ancestors that you are already working with. If you have that, you can ask them to give you general guidance or advice that they see that you might need at this point in your life. You don't even have to have a particular problem. You can just ask for specific guidance. And to do this before you go to sleep, light a small candle and ask that they give you beneficial advice, and that advice come only from those who love you beyond all reason or have your best interests at heart, or phrase it however makes sense to you. Make an offering and then either let the candle burn all the way out or snuff it before you go to sleep. This is one that I would definitely put a protective circle around myself or the room or the bed. Or if you don't do circles, you can wear a protective charm or tuck it in your pillow like I talked about earlier. Then in the morning, write down to the best of your ability those symbols, images, ideas that came to you. And maybe right away you'll be like, I know what this is about, or maybe not. And if not, what it can be really helpful to do is to try to track it over several nights and then look back over it and try and clump together things that seem like they go together, if that makes sense. And then you could try turning those clumps into a story, or you could also try pulling a card for each clump and then using your pendulum to confirm if you think the information you are divining about this group of symbols is correct. And I just want to mention here that sometimes dreams bring up fear, grief, or bring up old wounds. And sometimes we just all have nightmares. But if you're having recurring nightmares or recurring intense dreams, that can signal that you might need some support or healing in some way, or that your boundaries are being crossed energetically. So when you wake up, ground yourself, shake your body out, touch the earth, try to release the energy, take a salt shower or burn some herbs like rosemary or blue vervain. And maybe do some divination about it. I did do a whole video on protecting yourself from just general nightmares. And again, having general nightmares that are not related to old wounds is something that happens to everybody. And if the dream feels overwhelming in any way, reach out to a healer for support. If you're serious about working with dreams as a regular tool and a regular part of your witchcraft, I think it's really helpful to have a dream journal. And it doesn't need to be a fancy grimoire or book of shadows. I just use a spiral notebook, but I do like to tuck a little bit of mugwort in between the pages here and there, and a little bit of rosemary sprigs or dried leaves, just to kind of give it a little magical boost, and as a symbol that I want to work with the dreams and to call on the powers of the herbs. Then I also like to look at the symbols in the dreams, write down what I think those symbols might mean, because over time you'll discover that symbols mean different things to you than they might to other people. Like, that's why looking online might give you a head start, but it's not always super helpful. You have to track for a while to just see what dreams mean to you. So look for symbols, patterns, and use your playful, creative, storytelling, childlike mind to do your best to make it a story. And then ask yourself, if this story was a situation in my life, what story would it be? Or if it's a magical, epic journey, what would it be asking me to do? Those are some questions I ask myself. If you have any kind of Celtic roots, and I want to remind people that England was originally settled by Celtic peoples before the Germans and Anglo-Saxons came, you might be interested in working with the Fae, or the Sidhe as they're known more properly. And I find, and many other witches do too, that the best way to communicate with them is through dreams, and you learn a lot that way. Also, if you do hands-on healing work like massage, dreams might offer you a gift energetically to hold in your body when you're doing this kind of work. Dreams might show you a filter that you can put around yourself in order to protect yourself or give yourself a little buffer when you do this kind of work. And dreams might also let you know when somebody's energy has followed you home, or when you're overextending yourself. Herbs are also really wonderful to work with in terms of dreams, and probably most of you know that mugwort is really, really good for dreaming. It makes your dreams more visual, more active, more real feeling, and you can just tuck it somewhere near your bed, tie it up, or put it in a charm bag in your pillow. And if you're still watching to this point, I'd really like it if you'd put a heart emoji in the comments, and also let me know if you like working with dreams or if you're just starting out your practice. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, stay safe and be well.